Take me home, black line to the place.
Welcome to Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio, your number one African Caribbean online radio. Selassie, doing his thing out there. Take me home and blast the line. Well, folks, we are back at it again. Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. The program, as you know, at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Saturday is Highway 6 to Africa, where we meet the publishers, the managers, the artists, and whoever is connected with our industry. If I say our industry, the music industry, folks, yes, we are here to just have a conversation. One of them, and the special guest today is going to be KWAME BEDIAKO. Folks, he's an international reggae recording artist, and he lives in the United States. Heritage from Ghana. I love his music. And he was with us since the inception of Love Bay Afrobeat Music Radio. And it's a pleasure that he's going to be coming back again with us. And we'll see how he has gone through his music industry career. And with me, my co-host, PETRAA, is in the house. Hi, PETRAA.
Hi, TyB. Hey, Ron. How you guys doing?
Yes.
Hi,
Ron. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, hey, I'm doing fine. Yeah, just staying indoors, as I was mentioning to you off the air. It is here on the west coast of Canada. It is really wet and windy. So yes, yeah, a little bit. Well, it feels like fall. Let's put it that way. And that's what it is. Hope everybody's doing well out there.
And if I look around here, there's so much sun that I don't even want to go in there.
Well, look at you.
Yep. And PETRAA, how you doing?
I'm good. Just like him, enjoying the beautiful sunny weather. It's like end of summer, early fall weather. In Toronto. And I'm happy I celebrated a birthday, last week. So
yes,
it's nice.
Happy birthday to you.
On October 3rd, yes.
Yes.
What did you do? Turn what, 21, 20, 25? 25
Exactly. Exactly. So it was really good. Nice and chill. So yeah, it was really great. I look at a birthday. I don't really call it a birthday. Some people call it a solar return. They call it an Earth Strong. If you believe in Prince says like we only have one birthday, that's the day that we're born. You know what I mean? Which is why he says he doesn't age, why he looks so young, So
Prince? Okay.
Yeah, the artist known as Prince, you know what I mean? But it was great. I always look at like a solar return as a time to reflect. And it's like my new year, quote unquote, the world celebrates New Year's on the 31st, but I look at like your Earth Strong solar return as a chance to reflect, set your intention for the next 365/66 days of the year, So.
Wow.
Yeah, it's goal setting time.
That's right. Exactly. That's right. A lot of things have happened, in our industry and beyond. But maybe each one of you can throw on the table anything that you've heard, or apart from Puff Daddy, or 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 what is sad end to a story, a big story, and well, you make a bed and you sleep in it. That's all I can say.
Literally.
That's right. Yeah, anything new in the industry whilst we wait for KWAME. PETRAA.
I'm trying to think. The only things but on my mind is Diddy, but it's just like I know there's other things going on in the world. But I think we could just look at like, I don't think we should talk about him per se, but just the music industry on a whole. Like I think that can't be ignored. Like the industry is in trouble, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like it's lacking. I think for a long time we could see like the way the sound, the music, certain things within the music, embedded within the music, we could tell that it wasn't necessarily, you know, the opinion or, you know, the way of the masses. It was more like an intention that was being set within the music. And I feel like this disruption now that has occurred is going to make way for a new energy to come through the music. You know what I mean? So I'm like, although we're seeing the breakdown of a major figure who's connected to many, many other artists. So that's why this is a bit different than say like the R. Kelly situation or what have you. Is because it's affecting the entire industry. This is someone that's been in the industry for like over 20, 30 years. You know what I mean? So I look at it from an infrastructure standpoint. I feel like there's going to be a lot of shaking about, not just in hip hop, R&B, but I think it's going to ripple into other genres as well, because there's a lot of artists, you know, like prior to this scandal that even in the Afrobeat, you know, have connected with a lot of American artists and done a lot of collaborations. So it's like, my thing is, how is this going to affect the industry on a long term? So I'll put that out to the both of you. If you have any points on that.
Yeah, right.
I was listening to a big time producer who interviews so many people today, and he had a really good, I'll say, statement on what's happening to the industry, and not just one but many. But I think one of the things that you're starting to see, or we've seen, I would say me in the last 20 years, I've seen since the inducting of DAWs, which are digital audio workstations, we are seeing what I would call too much perfection. And too much perfection means that we're hearing people do things that we never used to do prior to, say, the 90s. And that is copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. And that's not human. Humans, when they sing a song, they will have that. Prior to the 90s, when we didn't have this Control V, Control C thing on our computers, they had to sing the song from front to end. There was no question about it. And sure, they stop and they put a new part in, but that is changing a lot. I think the music is becoming too perfect. I'm not hearing humans as much as I used to. And the other thing is, I think what I'm hearing less of. I'm hearing things like, I'm hearing less of a bridge. We used to have bridges before in songs, and anybody knows what a bridge is a part of the song that changes. You know, it's something different. Bryan Adams is a perfect case. You listen to Summer '69, and he's playing in the key of D and does his chorus, and then he goes into a bridge in the key of F. And I'm just going, holy cow, that's exactly a bridge. I'm not hearing solos that we used to hear, like sax solos and guitar solos and any other instrument that does a solo like we used to hear. We're not even hearing drum solos as much anymore. So that's where I sort of see things going. It's just the human factor is being taken out.
Do you think the human factor is going to be, disappearing now?
It is already. I mean, all we're using is machines most of the time to make our sounds that we want. People are grabbing samples, myself included. I do this. I've done it. Sometimes you grab samples, but it's, to me, we're not hearing the real people in there. Perfect songs are too perfect for me. You can tell they don't have a feel. I'm not hearing that groove. You know, that Earth, Wind, and Fire kind of Sade groove, and I just love Sade. The band just grooves. She didn't sit there and push buttons and say copy paste. This is going to be exactly the same. I know from playing so many of her songs on my bass that he doesn't copy and paste. And I've seen errors in songs, and that's okay.
Oh yeah,
they've just left them. They said leave that. I mean, I know Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. There's one of the songs where it's a blatant mistake, but they said the rest of it's so good, just leave it alone. And I'm okay, yeah, sure. Who would have known anyways?
Exactly.
But it's the feel. And then they must have had a feel. They just said, this has got the feel. So leave that one bad note in there. So what?
Wow.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
Do you want to say something?
No, go ahead, please.
No, No. I said no. I totally understand. I feel like that is also an issue within the industry, and I think with the shaking up, it may have an impact on the sound and how music is delivered. You know, I think the world right now is being overdosed with AI and technology, and it's just, I think as human beings, I think after a while, it's like we're just kind of getting, it's just too much, you know. I feel like people are missing that human feel. So although they're forcing all this technology at us, I feel there are some of us who are like to rebel, and you know, I think it's gonna see a rise and more of a demand for live shows, live performances, musicians playing actual instruments, you know? And especially because our generation is still kind of used to that. Our generations are used to that. And we pretty much have most of the purchasing power in that regard. You know what I mean? Like we can still allow that side of the music industry to still thrive while the kids are still playing with the digital, the technical stuff. You know what I mean? I don't think it's too late yet to save that side of the industry. And Ron also mentioned that some of the most streamed songs are songs from the 70s and 80s, which again backs up what he's saying about the feel. You know, if it was in the 90s that Jaws was introduced, but prior to the 90s, like, you know, where the music, you could feel the music so much more, but people are streaming those eras of music a lot more than present day music. It shows you that we as human beings, we need that human connection, that feel within the music. That's what makes music us.
Yeah. And if to even add to what you just said, look at sampling. I was watching James Brown, God bless his soul, one time on TV, and he
I feel good.
I know.
That's right.
Yeah. Love James Brown.
And he says something. He says, you know, the host, I forgot, I think it was Arsenio, and then we're talking, he says, yeah, you've contributed tremendously. They were talking about his career and stuff like that. And then he sat back and said, okay, thank you, but MC Hammer, I'm waiting for you. And when he said that, people started to laugh. But coming to think about it, he was saying that you were sampling my music to do your stuff. So, you know, if you come to look at it, most of the stuff that is being used, that are being used right now, was sampled from some of the oldies.
I know.
So no, and then it's good. That's why they're going back in there, because the music had soul. The music had soul, and today the artist gets up on stage, me included, and all that they are thinking is, okay, if it's a 2-hour gig, the check has got to be ready. Go to the studio. Back in the day, 1 year, 2 years, and they will come out with an album. But today, you can churn out so many things just like that. And then you listen to it, everybody's doing the same thing. So it becomes monotonous. That is why a lot of people are collaborating, because we've gotten to a point where we've hit the cul-de-sac. There's no outlet anymore. So what are we doing? We are going back to where we started. Because if you can listen to some of the new music, some of them are playing some of the old stuff, you know, using different kind of styles and stuff like that. You know what? It's still the olden kind of. We cannot. My submission is that we cannot shy away from it, despite the fact that, yeah, sure, there's been strides in respect to this industry where it's going to cause a lot of problems. Trust me. Producers, engineers, and all these. Now people are engineering on their cell phones.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Shooting movies, I mean, shooting music videos there on the cell phone. So what are we doing? And I'm glad to say that that I think Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has called for the regulation. I think I stand corrected. That there should be the regulation of the AI industry, which I concur. Ron?
Yeah, it's interesting. I'll go back to this producer. He was saying something that probably you two can relate to as well, and that is that at one time we used to buy albums, and they used to cost us $8 to $10 or whatever, and you put them on and you'd listen to them and go show your friends and read the back and see who produced it and who's all the artists on it. And today, for 10, and sometimes you had to go out and work to get that one album that you wanted. And so you went out and you got it, you listened to it from front to back, you flipped it over, the B-side, you flipped it over and listened to the whole thing front to end. Now today, for $10, you can listen to every single song that was ever created for $10 a month.
Wow.
All you have to do, and you don't even have to listen to ones. You can just go next, 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 next. And unfortunately, you're not getting a really good appreciation of the music then for what it is. You're not really getting into seeing who the artist is or who was involved in it. You don't really care. You just want to go, okay, I like this. Okay, next. So it's unfortunate that this is where the industry is. And due to many platforms, you can buy a song for $1, and even less. You can go past that and get everything you want, everything. And before you used to have to go to work and work for just an album from one artist. And look how things have changed. So we don't get appreciation for music. That's right.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Ron. Like when you said that right now, it was like a shock to me because that is the truth. There's a time when back in the day, $10 was for an album. Now $10 to listen to like every song ever created. And when you said that, it just made me feel so sad. It's like they just really cheapen the music, It really has gone to the point where it's like the major corporations, these tech companies are profiting off the creativity, the essence of artists, you know what I mean? And the artists, where all their music is streamed from, gets paid 0.000 something 0.1 cent off the song. And it's crazy because what you're getting paid for that song, that stream, is nowhere near worth what it costs to even make the song. You know what I mean? So it really is sad that how technology, in a way, I think has just cheapened the music, and really just, I don't know. That's how I feel. It's cheapen the music in a way,
Yeah. And Petra, I have one more thing to add to that. Sorry, TyB, but is that this fellow was also, his other point, he made 2 points, and that was one of them about how easy it is to get music today. He said the other thing is it's too easy to create music today. It's way too easy. We have all these people who, it doesn't matter if you're a musician, whether you're highly trained or anything, it's just the amount or lack of time period it takes to record an album. As you mentioned already, Petra, used to take, or maybe it was TyB mentioned, used to take a year or two before an album was made. Now you can put them out just like this. And to me, I agree with this guy in that we're not putting the creativity into the music as much, the thought, the process. How do we get this song getting to sound as good as possible? Because it's our one chance to make it. That's how it used to be. And today it's like, oh, we'll just release the songs and put them on Spotify and Apple and all those platforms and hope to heck they get played. Well, unfortunately, I mean, at least before, when you made $1 million, you made $1 million on an album, the singer would make, or the artist would make about $70,000. Well, today that's not even close to what you make, as you mentioned, Petra. But the creativity is just going right out the door. I see people writing songs, and all it is, I was listening to somebody in my car the other day, and I was like, I was almost falling asleep at the wheel. No, it wasn't that close, but I was thinking, it's a song, doesn't have anything in it besides the vocals. There's a little bit of music in the background, but all you're worried about is the vocals. Well, there's so much more to it. Don't you care that it has dynamics in it, that it builds and it comes up and it goes down? It's like, it's like life. It's like, life there's ups and downs in life. Well, your song should have the same in it. But that's just not happening. Put on a beat and I'll make a song to it. That's not how songs are worked. I can't imagine. I mean, I have a layout that I have that often the song follows. I always do. And I can send it to artists and say, here's the layout for the song. It goes, you know, introduction, please don't sing over this. It's so good, that guitar part. So just don't sing over it. But I've had guys, I've sent them songs, I said this, and they still sung over it. So it's like, it's really, we don't care about the music. We just want to have you hear our voice. Yeah. That's what lots of singing artists do. But I kind of go, no. I put a guitar solo in there for a reason. First of all, they don't always want to hear your voice. They don't want to hear every second of the song being your voice. That's why I'll say Phil was really good. He was like that. He said, you know, that song's ripping. It's got the guitar solo. I'm not going to sing on this. But I've had artists, other ones that sang over the whole thing. I said,
yeah. Folks, we are in conversation. We are on Highway 6 to Africa. We are waiting for our special guest. He's having some technical issues, but he'll be with us. He'll be with us, and we are discussing issues that has been coming up every day, every week. If you are within and beyond the music industry, this has got to be something that you have to be thinking about, because it's coming. So, like with that speed that is coming, nothing can stop it unless we sort of sit back and say, wait, hold on, you're going too fast, so that we can come back to reality. Because right now, you buy this or you listen to this music on radio or anywhere, and tomorrow you go, you play the same thing. The same artist may have brought a new one competing among themselves and between themselves. I mean, back in the day, when it was only one track, I mean, you remember the 45s? You go to the 45s, right? And the 45s migrated, when they said, oh yeah, sure, these people are writing some good music. Let's put them on this. Then they migrated to it was the 33 first, right?
No, it was 45s first.
The 45s
it was 78s first.
The 78s, that's right. The
gramophones. Then it went 45 and 33s.
That's right.
And then cassettes and then 8 tracks.
Tracks and all this kind of stuff. We resisted all those, and look at where we are right now. Still, a lot of people, and they've all become something that people are cherishing. People are cherishing. They don't want to let go.
I love vinyls.
Yeah, I quite remember. I had a 1957 Nissan. I've forgotten. It was this 2-seater. I cherished that car. I really did. Right now, if I had it and I was going to put it on the market, I was going to make a lot of money, because it's something that people are cherishing right now. So for what we say, no matter how the train leaves, it will leave some marks for us to be able to follow. But I'm glad that politicians are right now, beginning to think that, I may be in politics not thinking about what is going to happen in the near future, but you're not going to be there for forever, and you become one of us. But at least if you become one of us, you are already shielded. But at the same time too, anything that comes to all of us will come to you, because you cannot stay cocooned forever. Folks, we are in conversation here. We are enjoying this this chit chat here, but I would like to move it a little bit. Ron, I would like to congratulate you for what you've been doing on social media of the music. And honestly, the question that I was sitting back after listening to and then watching and then saying is, do we have to rely on the big boys to make us who we want to become? Any one of you can answer the question, please.
Petra, you can answer this better than I can.
Really, Ron? I was actually excited to hear your answer.
Well, I think that you and I probably think the same in this area. The big boys, to me, yes, I would guess that 99%, that's a guess, percent of all winning artists in the Junos, the Grammys, are all probably supported by large firms or companies, Sony, whatever it may be. And so what does that say for the little guy? Petra, you can speak to this now probably better than I can.
Okay, sure. Well, I like what you said. I like how you started off there, Ron. You know, and I love that hat, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
You know,
It's Gilligan's
But,
Island.
I beg your pardon?
It's Gilligan's Island today.
I love you some Gilligan. And you're on an island, you see?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Very good.
Exactly. But yeah, you started off by making a good point. Like, yeah, a huge majority of the artists, you know, that we see that are successful in the industry, you know what I mean? They are signed to a major label or has a distribution deal or some connection to a major conglomerate in that regard. But we also have to look at like those corporations. They still need artists. They still need us. You know what I mean? So we still have the power. It's just that for so long, not just in the music industry, but I just think for the longest time, many of us have been manipulated into thinking that we need these major companies to take us to where we need to be, you know? But we have to also understand that they need us. Without us, they don't have a product. Without us, they don't have somebody to put on the market. They don't have anyone to make money off of. So who has the real power? Is it really us or is it them? You understand me? And it really is us. So I think we have to position ourselves in the industry to be less on this employee mindset, like we want to be signed to a label, and more of I'm okay to be in partnership with a label. You know, the contracts have to be revised and be a lot better. Yeah, the contracts have to be revised. You know, the treatment of the artist has to change, and we need to be looked at more as an equal partner. You know, because without us, there's no way that they can make money. You know what I mean? It's just that the market has been so oversaturated now, and maybe that was the plan, because the market is so oversaturated. There's a lot more people that want to be signed and want to be artists now than before, you know. And there are pros and cons of it. I mean, it's so phenomenal. There's so much more people that have the ability to make music videos, be creatives and be creators nowadays. At the same time, I feel like it's taken away from the craft of being an artist and being a musician, because back in the day it wasn't so easy to be a musician, so you had to go through trials and errors and testings. Like when I hear TyB talk about when he came to Canada and he could hardly find places to play, you know, you have to play in like rock bars and such, you know. But it's those trials and tribulations, you know, that journey that's made him the great artist he is, and him getting his Juno Award, you know. Same with you, Ron. Your musical journey, your musical you've been a music teacher, you know, you played with many different bands, like, you know music inside and out in many different aspects, but that is because of the journey, you know. And I feel like a lot of these young people, they miss out on that journey because the shortcuts have been provided for them, you know. So that I feel is one thing that definitely needs to change when it comes to the industry, you know, is the relationship with the artists, and also how they treat artists, especially when it comes to the streaming. Like, we need to stand up for who we are in our industry and, you know, make the changes ourselves.
So, for where Ron has been posting some great music on online, right? So what I want to get is that people like it, they love it, from the comments and stuff like that. They love it. Should Ron said, oh, okay, you know what? I'm an online sensation. I've written so many, you know, about say 3 or 4 songs or 5 songs, and since everybody likes it, right? And Ron will just say, okay, yeah, sure, I'm going to this major record label and say, look how many people are, you know, following me and stuff like that. They say, okay, you know what? We can give you X amount of dollars, and you know what? Ron takes it. And then another person comes and says, Ron, yeah, we've heard a little bit of your music. So PETRAA has come in. And then over the next 2 years, you just have to sit down. And you know what? Let PETRAA do that. So what I'm saying is, should we as the insiders, as artists, allow ourselves to be dictated to with respect to what we have right now, the power that we have right now with this, where you can go and sell yourself. You know, back in the day, you had to come up with a demo. The demo itself, you're spending money, right?
Yeah.
And then you just do the demo, and then you just go, oh yeah, Ron can produce it. Oh, it's not, maybe the next one. You've already spent money. And there are one-timers who have gone in there, and they know themselves that they've made it, and then they just go with one hit, boom, and there they are. So should we rely, my question is, should we rely on the big boys as opposed to the medium ones? Afro Charts is a reputable music streaming service. Maybe a lot of people haven't seen it. I've seen good big musicians whose works are there. So do I always have to sit back and say, oh, you know what, I have to go to Sony or what have you to make me who am I?
Yeah, go ahead, Petra.
No, go ahead.
No, I was, what? Fortunately, I don't need the money. So even talking to my financial advisor yesterday, and he's saying, spend the money. You've got it. So I'm not the kind of guy that's typical. I'm probably atypical of most musicians. But then I worked as a teacher, and teaching did help me for sure make, the financial gains that I needed to. Saying that, most young people are not in that spot. They need somebody to, say, we're going to pay you to do this. I think what most musicians need to do, that I'm fortunate to have had that opportunity, and you two as well, and that is to perform lots. Performing is going to help you gain night and day experience that you will never ever get by just being a computer geek and recording quick, fast songs. So what I'm saying from all this is that if you don't need the money, I would say keep your day job. And that's okay. There's no harm. That's not bad. That's all I'm saying is that keep your day job, because then you can do the things you want, and you're not going to be dictated by somebody saying, here, sign this contract where we want your life. So then you can be able to say, no, I don't really need to. And what the other thing is that I don't like that major labels are doing is they're signing single artists only. That's because they're cheaper. It makes sense. We only have to pay one person instead of 4 or 5 people or 6 or 7 or however many people are in a band. That's why bands have basically almost disappeared off the market. It's because major labels don't want to pay out that kind of money that a band would require. You've got 5, 6 people in your band, whatever it is, and they have to pay for that. So being a single artist is so much easier. I think that's not helping the industry either. It's making it worse, because all we're hearing is soloists, and collaborations where 2 people get together. That's great, and there's nothing wrong with single artists either. I mean, look at Ed Sheeran. Ed Sheeran's doing a great job for himself. He hires a band. He goes everywhere. Artists like Bryan Adams done great, but Bryan always performs with a band. However, Taylor Swift as well always has a group with her. So there's nothing wrong with single artists. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying we're missing out on many of the great songs that could have been written by groups that were written by groups. And you can think of so many out there. I think of Steely Dan. What a great group, hot group. And so I just think that some of those things are getting missed out along the way.
No, I totally agree with you. I was gonna say, I think the reason why we're hearing like less bands is because the labels have already shown that they don't want to spend the money developing artists. So if they don't want to spend the money developing one, why do they want to develop 4 or 3?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I just wanted to touch on your point and maybe play like a bit on the other side. And I wouldn't really say we need these labels, because the way they've been treating the artists and the way they dictate the industry for the longest time has not been good. But at the same time, I'd say it depends upon what you want, And I think if you want to just be an independent artist, and if you do want to get to the heights of these major artists, you have to understand there's going to be a lot of money, work, time, and sacrifice to get to that level independently. if that's what you want, you know, if that's what your lifestyle is, if that's what you want, then those type of artists should sign to a major label because that's what they want. But in doing that, they have to understand what that means. You know, you're signing away a lot of your rights. Like you're not gonna have as much control over your career. Like they have to understand the pros and the cons. You know what I mean? You know, I think most of us, I think us on this platform, we're happy being independent, you know what I mean? And just pursuing our own journey and not really being signed to a major label. But we've interviewed a lot of artists who are signed to labels, who are in the industry in that regard. So I guess it just depends on what you want. We don't need them, but if an artist wants to be in partnership with them, I understand. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can't disagree with that. Petra, you're right. I mean, it depends on what you really want. And as long as you are in control and have some say, and you've read that fine print, and you've got a good manager who's going to read the fine print and look after you as well. So.
Exactly.
Well, you know what? It's been a very good conversation, and we're still trying to reach Kwame, and he's having some difficulty logging on. We hope, we hope that he will be able to join us for the last stretch of the program. And we are talking about concertless kind of societies that we are developing. Do you think if big corporations and are not willing and ready to sponsor this, do you think cities and governments should be able to do that? Like the Winnipeg Folk Festival, the festivals where taxpayers' money, taxpayers pay into that. They have to have their own, not corporations dictating to them. I have performed at the Winnipeg Folk Festival, one of the largest in North America, Edmonton, Calgary, Festival of the Rocks, Yellowknife, and I've been through all these. And you see the caliber of musicians who come in there, folks, musicians, and all the different kinds of, and we have workshops and we come to learn from each other, and everybody goes from enjoying themselves. Do you think that should be the way we should go? Because if we don't do that, I think PETRAA alluded to the fact that if we continue this trajectory, let's put it this way: a lot of people have gone to school to be trained as cellists, as what have you, or even studio musicians. What are they going to be doing? What are they going to be doing so that if they are not able to go to play at the Molson Amphitheater or any other, promoter who wants to bring some artists once in a blue moon and then they go and perform, that's it. But if we are able to push ourselves towards folk festivals where you can get so many different kinds of people, then we are all well and good. So I think that should be the way that we should be going. So you know what? I'm glad that we are having this conversation. And Kwame, I think Kwame has just joined us, and we'll be. Let me see whether I can get him right here in the studio.
I'm so sorry for the delay. I'm a little bit technically challenged, so that was the issue. To be honest,
that's all right.
Okay.
The best thing is that you are here.
Okay.
And then we're going to have that conversation. Sometimes things happen. As artists, the four of us being artists, things happen anytime. It can happen anytime, anywhere we choose. So it's okay, Kwame. Thank you. Thank you for accepting to be with us. As I was telling, I think Ron and PETRAA, you were one of the very first artists who came on Highway 6 to Africa, and back in it about 3 or 4 years ago. And here we are, back at it again. And thank you for taking time off your busy schedule to be with us this morning, this afternoon, this evening to our folks out there globally speaking. And welcome to Highway 6 to Africa. And with me, my co-host, PETRAA, 2020 Juno Award Nominee Reggae, yes. And Ron
Hi,
Mollinga, singer, songwriter, and music producer. And we are going to have a conversation with you. It's not an interview. Because
Okay,
on this Highway 6 to Africa, we don't interview. We
I
have
got you.
conversation. PETRAA, the floor is yours to open the gates. Thanks.
Thank you. Kwame, it's a pleasure to have you joining with us today on Highway 6 to Africa.
Give thanks. Give thanks. It's an honor.
Most definitely. So let's just start off with my signature question, 'cause I think it's really great for the listeners just to kind of know a bit about Kwame. Can you just share with our listeners all over the world who Kwame is?
To tell, can you repeat, please?
Yeah, sure. I mentioned, I like to start with my signature questions so that our audiences around our audience all around the world who are listening in right now, I'd love for them to know. Can you just answer the question, who is Kwame Bediako?
Oh, who? I'm a simple Rasta man. That's basically it. I'm a simple humble Rasta man. Trotting through the earth, just like um, most humans, just doing my best. Trying to live positively. And the best way we can affect life. You know, that's the basic I can give you. I'm sorry.
But that's okay. Don't be sorry. That's your answer. And can you also share with the listeners what made you get into music, specifically reggae music?
Yeah, like most people say, the thing kind of chooses you. Because when
Mm-hmm.
well, especially with us born in Africa, you kind of like, how do you put it? There is so much that we are not um, privileged. So growing up, you don't have role models to kind of guide you for you to know exactly what you want. Even when you go to school, you don't have counselors to kind of guide you in the stuff that you want to do. So most of us find ourselves wanting to be doctors or whatever. Some will say this and that. But then down there along the line, you find yourself gravitating to something that inevitably becomes you. And that's in my case, that's what happened. I found myself after high school gravitating towards music. People who played music. My brother was a musician too, and then I listened to all music. But when I heard reggae, it was like a calling. It's like the stuff was talking to me directly. It disarmed me. It just made me soft in the heart, at the same time happy, and I kind of knew that, yeah, this is something that I would like to work with, that kind of stuff.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
Give
Ron?
thanks. Yes.
I read your bio, and it says you are trying to teach people something. What do you think you're trying to teach people? What is it that you want to get across to them?
I really do more to teach myself, and if it reflects to other folks, then that's how it goes. But the teaching is basically for me, to kind of like understanding of myself.
Mhm.
If I understand myself and I live the way I live, if it's right and a man who see it and it's reflecting the way they kind of uh, 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 what's the word I'm looking for here? If it resonates with them or it's something they feel like they can work with it, yeah, then they can kind of go along and find a better, help them find themselves in the same way. In other words.
Hmm. And I noticed you also mentioned that you are up for, and like rightly so, but maybe you could tell our viewers what social justice is and what it means to you. Social justice.
Well, without social justice, it's like, what are we living for? We have with the world, as I understand it, we walk through darkness into light, and the darkness that we have been walking towards mostly misinformation about I and I, about ourselves, about people being of the same. And, people, there was this concept of other people thinking they are better than others, come up with laws and all kinds of things that kind of like makes living unfair, in other words. So that's where we come in to say, regardless of people's social status, everybody should be treated the same with the same kind of respect. It's
Absolutely.
how you want somebody to respect you the same way you have to give to the next man.
Makes sense. TyB?
Yeah, folks, we are in conversation with the amazing KWAME BEDIAKO. And this is Love Afrobeat Music Talk Radio, your number one African Caribbean online radio. Having a very great conversation here. KWAME, how did it all get started?
Like I said, my brother was a musician. He played with a lot of groups in Ghana. And I think growing up, he kind of influenced me without really knowing. And then, high school, I was also kind of hanging out with the musicians, folks who were playing instruments and things like that. So slowly I was gravitating towards music, but it wasn't something I had put in my mind that, yeah, this is something I wanted to pursue. But after school, I found myself more and more going in that direction. And the next thing that happened was, like I said, when I heard reggae, everything changed in my head. Yeah.
And then somebody might ask, as a Ghanaian, why didn't you go for high life music?
High life, exactly.
Yeah,
And
somebody
like
may
said,
ask that. Yeah.
And that's what I was saying is the reggae disarmed me. It's like if you as a person, you know what gives you the utmost pleasure of being quiet, finding that quietness within yourself, where the most high, the most I can't find a word for it. That's a feeling that you get that's so ecstatic that you can't help yourself. For me, when I hear Nyabingi drums, that gives me that, and no other thing do that to me. And I can't explain it. It's just, it's like you hear it and it's like, oh yes, challenge.
Yeah.
Everything is irate, that kind of stuff. That's the best vocabulary I can give you. So for me, that's how it happened. I listen to all music, but I love spirituality. I love finding that spiritual thing about myself, and that's what reggae gives me. All the other music don't give me that. They give me other pleasures and things, but it's not the spiritual thing where it make you real soft and tough at the same time.
So growing up in Ghana, I'm originally also from Ghana, but like our parents always wanted us to play. I mean, to be doctors and engineers and what have you.
Yeah.
And how did you find home life playing music? Because your brother was a musician, as you indicated. How did you find, going into that music industry where, sometimes I quite remember if I'm, sneaking out to go and perform or go somewhere, I just have to make sure that, the main doors were either locked or not locked, or how I'm going to think of jumping the wall to go into the compound because you were not allowed to do that.
Yes.
But today it's not like that. Today is an open season for artists. How did it affect you? Like coming from that background.
How did it? I'm sorry. I'm trying to.
How did you feel? Like who was the inspiration? Who it supported you, or who said, okay, KWAME, you can do that, or you can do that? Something like
Well, in my case, most things has been self-taught. It's been like a mistake. You make the mistake and you correct yourself. But my teachers in as far as music, mostly it's been Bob, listening to Bob Marley's music, and a few other people. You see, the thing with me is, the music thing took off after I left Ghana. I left Ghana when I was 20. So the music thing took off from then. And when it did, you know, being out here, it was tough. It was tough trying to navigate, you know, supporting yourself and doing the reggae, doing music at the same time. So mostly what I was doing was just self-help, you know, being in the scene, looking at people, uh, little experiences that I was picking here and there. But I didn't have anybody in particular to say, hey, do this, or to kind of direct me. I guess that's probably why I am in the position that I am now. Because a lot of people, they hear our music and they think, hey, you should have been this way. You should have been up there. You should have been doing this and that. But I keep telling them, this is my fate. This is what happened with
You're
me.
calling, yeah.
You know, this is my this is my journey. This is how
Yes, sir.
it happened for me. So I
Yeah.
have to go with it. You know, I
Awesome.
didn't really have anybody in particular like that, but it's
Thank
all
you.
good.
Yeah, thank you. Petra.
Most definitely. Thank you for sharing, Kwame. Just to kind of follow on from what you said, in relation to your journey, can you just share with the listeners just some of the lessons that you've learned over the years from being a musician? Like, what wisdom could you depart upon other musicians, people in the industry that would just love to hear from your story? Like, what lessons could you say that you've learned over the years?
Just stay humble and hungry. Just stay humble and hungry. And music is, to me, music is never done. You know, there are times when you will feel, you know, the little kinks coming in, the things that will make you feel like, oh, you know, but you keep pushing, you know, and just stay humble. Yeah.
Most definitely. And in relation to the spiritual aspect, because you're a reggae artist, because I myself, I'm a reggae artist. So I
Mm.
can relate to a lot of the things that you're saying. Like for me too, when it comes to reggae music, I'm from England. So I'm from the land of pop music. Like, so I could have sang any genre, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Pop
Yeah.
music, R&B, I could have done anything, but reggae music chose me, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Exactly.
just like you, there's a spiritual connection to that music. So
That's
can
how
you
it
just speak about that? Like what lessons have you learned spiritually through the music?
that humility thing, you know, that
Mm.
man is nothing. I mean, you are something, but still you are nothing. You know what I mean? Just stay humble, respect one and one. You know, give respect to the high and low, whatever. You know, and just stay humble. Yeah,
Yeah.
just stay humble, because I mean, every who knows what's happening the next second around the corner.
Yeah.
Nobody knows. So
Hmm.
just stay humble, and then keep pushing, keeping hope alive, keeping hope
Yeah.
alive. Yeah.
Because you have to, like, when you say that about being humble, it reminds me of Bob Marley, because if you look at Bob, even in the height of his career, he was like one of the biggest reggae artists in the whole world, but he was still so humble. He had a
Much,
lot of money, but he was still so humble. So is it
much.
maybe something about the culture, something about the genre, the sound, the connection to spirituality that allows you to stay humble? Like, what do you think?
It's a combination of all of that. It's a combination of all of that, and you as a person too. You know, and I was fortunate to say in that aspect to have some experiences that kind of directed me that, and I found that sweetness in traveling that path. You know, and
Hmm.
like there's something ecstatic about it that I really enjoy. You know, so I stay within that lane, for lack of better words. Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, you're not alone. Me too. All regular artists are on that same journey of humility, spirituality, and spreading the message. So keep on that journey for me, okay?
Give thanks. We will give
Most
thanks.
definitely. Yeah, bro.
Right. Right.
Hey, Kwame, obviously you're not a young guy. So how have you seen the music industry change over the years? And like, for instance, I know for me speaking personally, I know finding those gigs is a lot more difficult than it used to be. How's that been for you?
It's been kind of rough, you know, especially with the sales. You know how we used to have little income to support what we do. That's changed. The scene of where I'm at also has changed a bit as far as musicians to work with. So a lot has changed, but you have to roll with the punches. You know, you have to roll with what's good, what the, for lack of better words, what the world gives you. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you have to go with it and make the best out of it. Yeah.
And what would you advise to young people, say, young people half our age, who are starting on the scene? What would you say to them, other than being, of course, which you've said so well, which is to be humble? But what would you advise to young people coming into the industry today?
They should stay hungry. You should stay hungry, and that's and the other thing too is a lot of shortcuts now. Folks are trying to get shortcuts because you have these equipments now that allow you to do things that you weren't able to do before. But it's always good to pick up an instrument. Learn an instrument. It helps you
Yeah.
develop all the ideas that you have and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I tell you, as a music teacher, that's the one thing I would tell people time and time again is learn an instrument. Yeah, I can totally agree with you. Learn how to play a piano or a guitar, or doesn't matter the drums, just learn to play something. That's good advice. So TyB, go ahead.
Yes, there's one track that Kwame I like, and I would like to know how you came about this. Troublemakers. I love it. I love that
Troublemaker.
song. Yes, I love that song.
It's the same thing we're talking about with the way our minds have been programmed now, and if you check it out, those people making these laws and rules are the ones making the trouble. So that's how that came about. They're the troublemakers. You have religion, you have politics, the two main things putting this out there.
Yeah, I love it. That was it's one of my favorite tracks that one of
Lumpy,
oh
it,
yes, I love you. I love your music.
can I ask something? Is it possible for me to excuse and come back on this?
Sure, go, yeah, go
All
right
right,
ahead.
give me a
We'd like to
second.
talk to you.
Give
All
me a
righty.
second. I'll be
Okay.
back on there. I'll be
Sure.
back on.
All righty. Yeah, I mean, we're getting some good gems. It's a
Does
good
it
gem.
look? It looks like he's driving, or he was
Yes.
driving. Is
Yeah,
that what it was?
yeah, he was driving.
Oh, okay, I kind of thought so.
Yeah. I mean, he has been giving us some gems. The humility aspects of it, and those kind of stuff. Yeah, PETRAA, you can address some aspect of it. You guys, yeah, it's very deep, very deep.
Yeah, no, for sure, most definitely. And I think that comes with the kind of music that you align yourself with, you know what I mean? Because each genre, I believe, has its own energy, you know what I mean? So if you're into like in the hip hop genre, more time you have to be flashy, depending on what side of hip hop. If you like one of these young rappers that have so much diamonds on, they have the big cars, they have the lifestyle. Then you have the other rappers who are more old school, more down to earth, like De La Soul. So they don't really care about all the bling bling, but they still have the baseball cap with the baggy jeans, that they have a look, right? And each of those have its own energy that comes with it. That's the same with the reggae music, So even with reggae has two facets. There's the dancehall, which is the flashy, the violence, the crazy side, the party side. And then you also have the conscious reggae, which is very similar to me and Kwame. That's more, down to earth, chill, nature, natural, eating healthy, Rastafari culture. And they all come with this energy. And the energy of reggae music and Rastafari culture is more of revolution. If you understand anything about Rastafarian culture and its origins, it literally where Rastafari culture came about. And correct me if I'm wrong, anybody want to call in or message or what have you, but it stemmed from a time of where colonialism was being imparted upon the Caribbean through the Commonwealth, and I think it's Leonard Powell. I think it's Leonard Powell. I have to be corrected on the name, But I know there was certain ancestors, the certain elders within the community in Jamaica, you know, that wanted to keep a connection to their natural roots, you know, their culture, you know, and also a prophecy, you know, of an emperor being crowned in Africa, you know, and that prophecy came true. So all that being said, the spiritual aspect of the prophecy and also the connection to keeping a hold of tradition and roots and culture that's authentically Afrocentric and essentially indigenous, that's where that came about, you know. And with all that history and the culture, even the politics involved in that, all of that comes through the sound of reggae music. And the originators like Peter Tosh, Bob Marley, Jacob Miller, so many more that, you know, that I can't even mention right now. There's so many. When they first came into the music, it wasn't about the material. It was all spiritual, you know, it was all revolutionary. It was all about spreading the message and uplifting the people with the music, you know, and that managed to spread around the world. So any energy that comes with that sound is most likely going to be humble, you know. So when you hear Kwame speaking about the humility in the music, that's essentially what it is about. Like reggae music, real reggae music and Rastafari culture isn't about being flashy. It literally is about, you know, love, unity, strength, you know, connecting with the earth and nature and treating one another good, you know what I mean? So, and I guess that is in competition with certain other energies within the music industry that promotes the other side, you know? So I feel that will always be a fight with the reggae music in a sense and some other genres because the energies are kind of opposing, you know what I mean? However, at the same time, reggae does still influence so many sounds, you know? So there's a lot of power in the music.
So
yeah,
conscious. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Pete.
With conscious reggae, that's what Kwame. Do you think conscious reggae has fizzled out or is still there? Because like with Kwame's music, if I listen to a whole range of even the old and even the new music, I think it's still there. But I think at the same time too, there's a little bit of a shift towards dancehall. Would I be right?
I wouldn't really necessarily say it's a shift. I just think they're not trying to promote the sound of reggae music. You know what I mean? They don't want to promote the sound. It really is a fight. It's a spiritual fight within the music because of what, as I said, reggae music has always been a rebellious sound. It's always going to talk about the injustices within society that's happening to the people. That's against the major corporations, the conglomerates that are running the music industry. They're always going to talk about, you know, like being entrepreneurs and, you know, being vegetarians and vegans and, you know, and you know, like not relying on the infrastructure. That's what reggae music, reggae culture has always been about. It's always been about not relying upon these major corporations and conglomerates. And we are in an industry that's their industry. You know what I mean? So it's like, how are you gonna have someone coming into your house that literally says to you they don't like your house? You know what I'm saying? And they don't stand for your house, but you're gonna, you know, so there's always gonna be that fight. So reggae music doesn't get the push that it should get because it doesn't align with these major corporations and major labels. They can't profit off of it the way they can profit off of hip hop, the way they can profit off of R&B, the way they can profit off of other genres. They can't profit off of it materially as they want to, you know? And because the industry is so, I don't think it's as regulated yet because it's reggae music is a spiritual sound, right? So there's all of those little tidbits connected to the genre that, you know, that means that, you know, it doesn't stand next to the other one in that sense. So I wouldn't really say that it's not, that people are not really gravitating towards it. I just feel like it's not being promoted the way it should. You know, I believe if reggae was equally promoted as the other genres, I think it would surpass a lot of other sounds. You know what I mean?
But my question is, what has changed? Because
good question.
What has changed?
Yeah, as I said, they're not promoting.
Most of the same artists are there, and new ones are. So we're developing them. So I think there was no break from Mali Tosh and Gregory Isaacs and all this, and there has not been a break because every time reggae has always had a star, a superstar, or more, not even once. I mean, sometimes it could be 3 or 4 at the same time. What changed? Because it's the same ball players there, same organization that were promoting them. What changed?
Yeah, Petra, and as you know, the Junos wanted to take out reggae. So yeah, I'm with the TyB on asking this question. So what has changed?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to say what you just mentioned, I think, is one of the issues I find in the reggae genre compared to others. Is I feel like there are certain people that have held a position for a long time and they don't want to allow the younger generation or the newer generation the opportunity to hold that position, you know? And I think it's a little bit of fear mongering, you know? I look at hip hop and I feel like a lot of the older artists, they want to mentor the next generation because they don't want to sing for the next 20, 30, 40 years. Whereby in reggae, like it's normal for a person to have a 30, 40, 50 like span career. So again, that also is a thing too, right? If like you have a genre where people they have careers on average that span over 10, 20 years versus say R&B or hip hop where these people's careers maybe last maybe 3, 4, or 5 is very different. You know, not it doesn't allow for so many more young artists to come in. Like Craig Diamond, he was on Roots Reggae Radio, the other station, the other day, and we were talking. Is like most of the Canadian reggae artists right now that are popular, they're in their 40s. It's like it took us 20 years just to get recognition. And I can agree, it took me 20 years. Well, I was in the industry, 12 years before I got my nomination, you know, but I've been in the reggae industry for over 20 years now, and it takes that long, you know what I'm saying? Well, even though our career is getting started in our 40s, we still have another maybe 20, 30 years to still promote ourselves. Whereby if it was, say, hip-hop or R&B, like, you can't really be a rapper in your 50s and 60s, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a time span on it. So
yeah. Kwame, the question that Kwame you would ask, Kwame is
I'll call her back.
Yes, Kwame, the question that I mean we the discussion is centered on around, maybe you can chime in on that.
Okay.
We have about 10 more minutes to go.
Sure.
Do you think reggae music has changed? PETRAA was saying that it's not being promoted as it should. And I'm saying, and Ron and I are trying to find out what has changed between the time that reggae was reggae and right now.
There's some changes, though, I would say, because there were, well, where I'm at in America, let me speak from that perspective. There was a time when, they over here, they have their own list of genres that they do. So there was a time when reggae was a novelty, was something new here. It hit them hard. So a lot of people was curious to find out what it was. And that's where we were getting a lot of notoriety. People were gravitating towards it. Like I was saying, me personally as a musician, I was able to work with other musicians coming from other genres, blues, jazz, and whatnot. You know what I mean? And then as it went along, the message that it was carrying, the strength of it and everything, folks felt the corporate, for lack of a better word, the corporate world felt like they needed to dilute it or whatever for marketing and whatnot. And that's what's been going on. And so you had what folks used to call the slackness. That So that changed it a little bit. There was even some time ago when even the live music, when they were just doing like 3-piece bands, you have a drum bass keyboard and somebody in front just jumping up and down and talking some kind of crap. Seriously, and folks was buying into it. So all of those things didn't help with the development. And then finally, folks realized that no, that's not helping, and trying to come back around, and trying to spin positive things. And so it's like folks realized those things coming in and got up again and said, no, we have to change it. you know, and that's how I see. There's been some evolution to it, you know. There's been some evolution to it, but promotion wise, yeah, it can get better. It can get
Wow.
better.
And PETRAA, all around.
Good,
Go ahead,
Petra.
Ron.
You got. I noticed. I don't want to change the topic too much, but it in your bio it said that you are an African roots ambassador, and you let the audience know that you have a rod. How do you do this when you say that?
I didn't say that. I didn't
Well,
say
it's in your
that.
bio. That's what.
But that was a statement that came from. That was a statement that came from one of the publications where we performed. So I guess we took from what they said, what they stated, and I guess that's
Okay.
how they saw it. You know, when we presented ourselves, they saw that whatever it is that they saw and they described it in that sense. But
It just.
we never told them to state that.
Well, I just saw it because it was in your bio. That's all.
Yes, it was. We picked it up from what they stated about us. Yeah.
Can I ask? I often ask artists this one, and what makes you different from everyone else that plays reggae? What do you think's unique about you, other than your humbleness?
Oh, we stick to roots. We stick to roots. That, you know, you find it over the years. Like Love Bay was saying, Brother Theo was saying that um being born in Ghana, you have this other pressure where people are like, why didn't you, you know, it's not your home music. Why didn't you play this high life, or why didn't you do? But I am Rasta, and that's what I is. I play Rasta music, you know. So whatever I do has to have the heartbeat in it, you know.
It's a choice. It's a choice.
Yeah, it's to me that's probably the difference. I stick with the heartbeat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, PETRAA.
Yeah, no, for sure. I get those questions too, you know. Why do you sing this sound? Why do you sing that sound? But like
Yeah,
I identified, the sound it picks you. You don't pick it, you know?
exactly. And the songs write themselves too a lot of times. If you
Oh,
check it out. Yeah, really, if you check it out. You find out like you come up with a song in the melodies and sometimes boom is right there. And sometimes you have the melodies, you can't find the hook.
I'm
And
telling
it
you.
takes you years. It takes you years and then they will come in like some simple one line. You're like, oh damn, this is what I've
You
been
know?
looking for.
Yeah.
So the
Why did I
artist
think
will
of
write
that
themselves.
before?
Yeah, the song write themselves. If you're patient, enough, you will see all of them things. Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think that is another lesson that you mentioned that you've shown that you learned through the music is the patience, you know?
Yeah. Well, for me, it didn't just happen to us. You know, like the man said, I'm a little old. You know, so it came from that years of experience. Yeah. When I was young, I also had a youthful energy. You know, this and that. But as you mature a little bit, things kind of not slow down, but calm you down a little bit better. You know, your understanding changes. You know, over time. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. I wanted to just say when it comes to the songwriting, I wanted to backtrack to that a little bit. I can totally relate because even with my song like Never Broken, a lot of my songs that people are familiar with, some of those songs it took me maybe like half an hour or an hour, you know what I mean? Or like I'll get like a download, and that's how I know that music is spiritual, you know,
Yes.
especially the reggae music. Because a lot of my songs, it's like I'll just be here and I get a download of a song. I'll get
Yes.
the hook, the verse, second, third verse, everything. And
Yes.
then I have to learn the song. And people are like, how do you have to learn your own song? I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
know. Like, and
Yeah.
that's how I know that it doesn't come from
Exactly.
me.
That's why sometimes when you see when we come live, some songs when you performing them is kind of so. They have to understand that it don't
Exactly.
just happen. Boom. You know, you have to play it and you know let it take you. In other words,
Yeah.
it take a minute.
I was just gonna say that, like, you need, like, even with the songs, I write these songs, and it's like, okay, I have to learn the song, and then after I learn the song, like you said, you have to connect to the song now.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
even though the song,
That's the word. Connect. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
even though the song came out of you, it doesn't mean the song came from you.
That's right. That's
So
right.
then now it's like you have to now connect with that song, become one with the song, and it's like you have to now connect with it in a way that you can allow that song to connect with others.
Exactly. How you going to transfer it to the audience or whoever you going to show it to.
Exactly. And that's what I was saying. That's what I said when I sing TyB. And that's what I was saying. Reggae music is a spiritual music.
It is. It is, sister. I mean, really, a lot of people in the early days, there were some people who came up with a scientific, what do you call it, analysis of it. You know, even how the bass notes resonate, how the pace, the tempo, it's designed to affect your whole human body. So, seriously, it's the what call it, the vibrations of the human body. It's a 5 something hertz or whatever. Some science people know that, but if you check it, the early brethren, the way even now the band called Midnight. If you listen Midnight, they purposefully steer that way. They purposefully steer that way. Where it's like they explain that the human heart can't go too fast, it can't go too slow. So you have to stay at a certain tempo. And within that certain tempo, if you listen to reggae and the bass and you have the right mix and you in the audience, it will do something to your body, man. I mean, in your mind, you see, man, them just get off and somebody will just jump on you. That's those things. But reggae is spiritual, very, very so much so.
Awesome.
Thank you for sharing, Kwame.
Well, thanks a lot. But before we go, how can people get to know your music and how they can reach you on social media at all? Because you've given us some gems this afternoon. Very deep, very deep.
KwameReggae.com. I think KwameReggae.com will take you to our site, and then all the info, most of the info you want, you can get it. But I also would like to say, sister, after we talk, I would like to get in touch. If you love me, if you can give me information.
Yes.
And then my brother over there too, so that we will stay connected and then forward with the works, But I appreciate what we're doing here. It's not an interview; it's our reasoning, And
exactly. It is.
I love that. I love that.
That's right. Because what, Kwame, we've been doing this. We are all artists, and we know how the industry is all about.
Dig it.
So we know where we meet and where we digress, and even we digress, we know exactly. Like we are on stage and something happens, the music has got to go on. So we know exactly what we have to do. So we make our guests feel comfortable because it's not a gotcha program that we do here. We want people who are outside of the industry to know more about our artists or us, so that they don't have that misconception that that person is that. We don't gossip. We just give you what it is from the horse's own mouth, not going to areas where we don't have to go because it's none of our business. All that we have to know is how you've come to where you are, so that somebody out there who's venturing into the industry will not think that it's just easy. Just take your mind, just do it and then make money and then just go home. Like I always say, this industry is like a jungle. If you close your eyes for 2 seconds, you might be eaten alive.
It is more than jungle, yeah.
That's right. So, people think, a lot of people think it's so. We give stars like you the platform to come and tell people that, hey, we've been through some areas that you may not have experienced, but this afternoon, wherever you may be, folks out there, we've shared a very great moment with Kwame. And with Kwame, you come back again and then share your gems with us. And on behalf of myself, PETRAA, and Ron, who say thank you for your time, and thank you, listeners, for being with us this afternoon. Once again, we'll see you in 7 days. Bye bye.
Thank you very much. You all have a good one. One love.
Bye, everyone. Take care.
I love it.